Hi everyone, it's Tasha. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Well, welcome to my small and realistic and easy front porch makeover. So let me start off by saying that my front porch, maybe you could call it just a portico. I don't know. It's not like big enough to entertain on, but it's 9.5 by 5.5 feet. So maybe a lot of you out there can relate to a front porch that's about this size. I'm not sure, but I definitely have my work cut out for me. I've cleared it off to get this started, but my daughter has drawn up here with chalk, and since it's under an awning, it didn't get washed away by the rain, so the sun kind of baked in the chalk. I've got pollen everywhere. It's super embarrassing. It just really needs a good clean to start out with. So first things first, I'm just attempting a good sweep with a broom. That did not do the trick, and so we pulled out our pressure washer to try and clean that concrete off. Unfortunately, the pressure washer hose was leaking, so we went in with the regular garden hose on the jet, the hardest jet cycle that we could, and then we went in actually with soap and a brush to kind of clean everything by hand. But I feel like if you're going to be redoing and revamping a space like this, you have to clean it first. All of us are getting involved. As you can see, my little girl is helping scrub away her chalk. And so we just want to start out with a really nice clean surface. So while this dries up completely, I can get my items together for the makeover. Now, I realize my front porch is on the small side, but I'm definitely going to add at least one chair up here. It would have to be pretty small for me not to want to add at least one seat. So I already had this set of 4 seats actually on our back porch, and we really don't use that many back there. There's only 3 of us in our family, and so I'm going to use one of those up front. First thing I'm going to do is give it a touch up. It definitely needed a cleaning and really a new coat of paint. So I just covered the bottom seat part up with a little bit of cardboard and some painter's tape, and I'm going in with some black spray paint just to give this a nice fresh coating. These were given to us secondhand years ago, so I'm not sure where they're from, but they're very sturdy, and the cushions that came with them are nice and fluffy as well and very firm. So I feel like these are going to last for a long time, and it was definitely worth just going ahead and giving this an extra coat of paint rather than buying another chair. I'm also going to go over that black spray paint with an additional coat of just some clear protective finishing spray, and so I'm adding that, and neither one of these take very long to dry at all, which is a fun thing about using spray paint versus regular paint that you brush on. This is just super fast and easy, and within 1 hour I'm done with both of these coats and ready to move on from this piece. The first step for me in restyling this porch is going to be to add in this beautiful new outdoor rug. This video is in collaboration with Wayfair, and they're gifting me all of the Wayfair products that I'm going to be showing you in this video, so thank you to them because I'm so excited to show them to you. This first piece is a rug by Amber Lewis and Laloy. This is the indoor-outdoor Topanga rug in the colors Natural and Bone. I could not be happier with this. I was looking for something that was mostly a neutral, definitely all earth tones, but I wanted a bit of a pop of blue, and I was also looking for a checkered pattern, so this checked all of my boxes. This was the perfect rug for our front porch. I went ahead and got this in a 4x6 because I wanted it to make a big statement at the entrance, and I plan to add a smaller rug over top of it. So while I'm bringing this new chair in and putting the cushions on, let me just mention that the color of our house is going to change before too long. We're going to have it painted. I'm really excited for that. I know that the main color is going to be shoji white, and this doorway area here is going to probably be urbane bronze, and then I need to decide on a for sure trim color, maybe amazing gray or some other sort of grayish color, but this whole area will look a lot different once that's done. But I didn't want to wait for that to happen to go ahead and give this a summer refresh. So I think that the chair looks great with a new coat of paint on the metal frame part, and I've washed my cushion covers so they're all nice and bright and white, and I'm ready to move on. I'm going to be adding this accent pillow. This is another amazing piece from Wayfair that was sent to me. I love this block print. This is a 16x16 cotton indoor-outdoor pillow, and I absolutely fell in love with that little romantic block print. I think that it adds a nice cottagey kind of touch, which is what I'm going for on this front porch. Definitely a nice, cozy, inviting cottage style with the space that I have. This little woven side table is another piece that I've already had for years that I'm just moving around from the back area. And this was actually a find at a yard sale for only $10. If you can believe it, we got 2 of those for $10 each at a yard sale. Another piece that I want to be using that we actually found on our property back in the woodline when we moved in was this piece of concrete. Now, this is a part of a concrete bird bath that had been broken apart and was just kind of laying in the woods when we moved in. But I think that this section of it makes a great planter. And so what I'm going to be doing is, since I just want to have a faux plant in this and not a real one that I need to water, I'm just going to simply fill in the bottom section with a piece of stiff cardboard to fill over the hole. And this is my next Wayfair piece, which is this beautiful faux camellia plant. I cannot say enough good things about this. It's falling over because it's a very windy day when I'm doing this, but I'm just going to be putting this inside this nice concrete quote-unquote planter, and I'm going to be filling in around that with some simple topsoil to make this look extra realistic. I love this plant because it does look so realistic and it just has a nice coloring. The leaves aren't too bright and kind of overly green. The flowers are a nice touch. They're just nice and subtle texture, not too shiny or anything like that. And once you put this in a pot with some dirt, I think it looks very realistic with zero maintenance. So I really like this piece. It's very heavy, but I'm just making my way to the front door to kind of put this on the side that is opposite of that chair. In case you weren't aware, Wayfair is having their big outdoor sale, so you can get up to 50% off during this sale and fast shipping, so you can have some of these perfect items to upgrade your outdoor space in no time. Go take a look if you haven't checked them out yet. So again, if you're open to using any faux plants outdoors, which maybe some people aren't, and that's fine, but for me, I really need this to be a low maintenance plant right here because this area doesn't get any sunlight, and so this was the perfect choice for me. I love how the stems on this really look very realistic, and I think that it looks great in this little found planter from the woodline. Now I do want to add some real plants as well, and so one look that I like is when you have pots of plants kind of coming down a stairway. I think that that's really inviting and definitely would give off that cottagey vibe that I'm after. So I already owned a lot of terracotta pots, but I didn't want to leave them just plain, so I tried this lime wash technique to age them, as you can see there. And although I've tried this technique on an indoor vase and really liked it, I didn't really like the way that it looked on the terracotta after all, so I decided to just start over with these, and luckily, since I hadn't sealed anything, it just rinsed right off to give me a clean slate after these dried. What I'm going to be doing instead is using a spray paint. It's called Latte, in case you're interested. I think that it's a very nice kind of taupe. It's just in between a brown and a gray, which is perfect for what I was going for here. And I think that it will really match and bring out the warmer tones in that rug that I showed you by the front door. So I'm giving all of these a good coat, waiting a little while and giving them a second coat, and then I also am going over them with a clear sealer after I'm all done with that, just like I did on the chair, just to make sure that they have a little bit more longevity. As for the plants themselves, I thought that I would go for a lot of herbs for this arrangement and also just other kind of greenery plants that I liked instead of necessarily flowers. I thought that first of all, the herbs would be useful, but secondly, I wouldn't have to worry about them looking lackluster once any blooms fell off. So I just headed to my local home improvement store to check out the selection. Even though it's later in the season, this is actually summer rather than spring, they still had plenty for me to choose from. So I brought a big bundle home. In this largest pot, I'm going to be putting some lavender, which is probably my favorite. I love the way it smells. I love the kind of wild cottagey look that it has. It's just really full. I like that about it. And so also a nice thing about these aromatic herbs are that they tend to repel different insects like mosquitoes and wasps. So I figure that can definitely not hurt to kind of surround the porch with something that might repel a few insects. I'm also going to be using some sedum in one of the second largest sizes. This is not an herb, but it is one that has that similar thick and bushy look to it. And then I'm also using some peppermint, and I'm just placing 2 of these side by side because they're so small so that I can give it kind of a head start of looking like a nice thick pot full. And then I also ended up grabbing some rosemary and some Greek oregano. So next, of course, it's time to just place these one by one on the stairs. And so my goal is for these two sides not to look too symmetrical. I think that that would be great in a more traditional kind of look, but for this, I want it to be very relaxed and, like I keep saying, a little more just cottagey and homey and welcoming. And so I'm doing 3 on one side, including my largest one, and then I had 2 left over for the other side. And so I do think that that looks nice once I step back and look at it. Again, I put the set with 3 on the opposite side of the porch from the chair because the chair and the side table have more visual weight on the right already. So I thought the big pot with the lavender would be better on the left side of the stairs. But then actually after I had these all set up, I did remember that I also had these lovely black lanterns that I thrifted quite a while back. Many of you have seen them at a Goodwill, and I had 3 of those. So I dug those out and I worked those into the equation as well, putting 2 on one side and 1 on the other side. And I really like the charm that was added just by simply adding those in. So back up toward the door, I'm also going to be adding this little scalloped doormat that's thicker and more like the type that you actually kind of wipe your feet on, you know, to get dirt off before you go into the house. And I like the idea of just layering that right over the beautiful blue and cream checkered one from Wayfair. And another thing that I'm going to be doing is adding some hanging planters. These are from Wayfair as well. These are so beautiful. I love the woven look on these. And this was a nice set of 2 in a very beautiful kind of taupe color again. And so that's another reason that I went for that latte paint color earlier on the pots. I think that kind of the taupe and the grayish will look nice together and kind of echo throughout the different sections of the porch. These are a great quality, and so I'm very happy with them. I'm just going to be hanging them up and adding even more greenery up high. So what I did was I actually went with something a little unconventional here, and I got large pots of oregano. And I know that's, like I said, not what you would typically see in a hanging planter, but this is one of the most fragrant plants you can have. And also, I just really like the look of it decoratively. I really like all those small little leaves and the kind of bunchiness of it. So I think that that's a really sweet choice to hang up there, and it should get plenty of light right on the edge right there. Now for the front door, as you can see, I do have a storm door, so you can get yourself some of these magnetic hooks. There's a piece on the back of the glass and the front that have a hook so that you can have a magnet there to hang something instead of having an over the door hanger. And what I'm going to be placing here is one of these woven baskets I got from the thrift store for $3.50. And if you're thinking, wait, you already used this in your guest room makeover, I got 2 of them. It was amazing. I got a smaller one, and then this is the bigger one, and they were both $3.50. So I'm going to be using one out here with the same florals, as you can see, that I used in the guest bedroom. I'm going to be using on the front door, and I think that these are the perfect touch, especially for that modern charm sort of cottage look that I'm going for. I can think of no better floral that would work for this front door than this one. And so these are super easy to arrange, also very affordable at only $2.99 a stem, I think they are. And so I'm just going to be using these on the front door, and I love, love, love the way this dark basket looks with these. And I think these baskets probably were like vintage pieces. I don't know that they're available anywhere right now, but that's part of the fun of thrift shopping in addition to your retail shopping, is you can really find very unique pieces that other people won't have right now. I love the way this looks, and after everything is cleaned, styled, and just kind of refreshed without doing any major work, I think that this looks like a really sweet, welcoming spot, and I'm very happy with it in terms of capturing that modern charm, cottage, and welcoming feel. Now I have one more idea up my sleeve for this front porch, which is to use this little pot. I picked this up at a thrift store a long time ago. I don't remember how much it was, but it has a nice kind of aged look to it already. And I'm going to be making myself a nice big citronella candle out of this. And so I picked up some candle pearls, I guess they're called, like little basically beads of wax that you can just pour into something rather than melting down and pouring wax. You can just use this. So I measured out how much I would want into the vessel itself and then poured that into a mixing bowl, and I'm just going to be using some of my essential oils that I already have on hand to come up with a really good smell that will additionally keep bugs off me. I I'm one of those people that mosquitoes love. They're all over me before they're all over anyone else around me. I don't know if any of you out there are like that, but I'm going to be using just some different oils in this one. I think that I ended up going with some citronella, some lemongrass, some eucalyptus, and some tea tree oil, if I'm remembering correctly. And I just was pretty generous with those, and then just mixed it all up with a glove on. And that's really all there is to it if you're making a candle with these candle kind of pearls, except for buying a pack of wicks as well and just sticking the wick down in to the candle before you pour the beads around. So it was a super easy DIY, and it smells really good since it's not just citronella, but I also love the eucalyptus and the tea tree oil in there. I think it's a pretty good combo. I picked up this little copper watering can for just $1 at a churchyard sale months and months ago, which was an excellent deal. And so I'm just going to be placing this on the bottom of this little side table, just mostly as a decorative piece, but also obviously I can use it to water those plants, which is wonderful, and putting the candle that I just made at the top. I don't want to clutter this area up too much because I like to sit out here and read or work on something while my daughter is playing in the front yard, and I just want a place to sit my drink. I don't want too much froof out here. I also added this cute little basket that I thrifted just to put her chalk in so that she can play on the front driveway, and it looks more aesthetically pleasing than being in the box. And that wraps it up for my front porch. So once again, I'm just going to show you the before where everything is all emptied out, a very boring front porch that needs a good clean desperately. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of effort, a few new products into it, some wonderful finds from Wayfair, and I think that this definitely captures what I was looking for. It's a nice, relaxed, kind of slow living, modern cottage, modern charm look with these details. And so I hope that this inspired you to give a refresh to an outdoor space in your area. I hope that everyone enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment letting me know what you liked, and I hope that everyone listening has a fantastic week, and I'll see you at the next video.